everyone, and welcome to another session of Building Blocks. I'm Judy Brown from the Little Fabric Garden, and today I've got a cute little block to show you. This block was shown to me by one of my customers quite a few years ago, and I really liked it. I tried it, and I put it in a very safe place so that I could do it again, and I couldn't find it again for many, many years. So anyway, I did finally find it, and I thought it might be a cute one. It is called a 3D pinwheel, and I really liked it. I like being able to pick it up and stick my fingers in it and all that kind of stuff. Really cute and very easy to make. So I am going to get started on this and show you how to make this 3D pinwheel. So what I did was you only use two fabrics. Now you could, like if you're doing a whole bunch of blocks, you could change those two fabrics as you go along, if you wanted to do more in a collection or however you wanted to work that. But I'm just going to stay with these two to show you. So I cut these two strips at 3.5 inches. So I've got two and they're coordinated. They go together, so you don't want to get anything that, doesn't look good together. And these two do, so that's what we're going to do. So I am going to take these and I'm going to take them over and I am going to cut them into 3.5 inch squares. And before I do that, I'm going to tell you that out of one of these strips, I can get 12 3.5 inch squares. It's just one of those goofy little things that stays in your mind after you've done it a million times. So I'm going to tell you that so that you can keep it in your mind now. So 3.5 inch squares, I'm going to go over there and get these cut. And I'll be right back. All right, so here in front of me, you can see that I cut them into 3.5 inch squares. There are 12 here and there are 12 here. So each one of these blocks is going to take 4 of each one of your fabrics. So I'm just going to lay these out. We're going to use 4 of this cute little print, which is one of my favorite happy prints. And then the coordinating pink that goes, All right. So for one block, this is what I need. So I'm going to just kind of move these over to the side. All right, so what we will do is take 4 of these and we're just going to fold them in half like this, diagonally, so that we're going to end up having 4 triangles. Okay, that's easy enough. And I think I'm going to run over to the ironing board real quick and give them a press because you can see how this is kind of popping back up and I don't want it to mess me up later. So I'm just going to run over real fast and press it. All right, and so you can see that I've got the triangles here and I pressed them. Now I'm going to take this point right here and I'm going to bring it over across like this. And I'm going to stick a little pin in it so it doesn't move on me. And as you can see, I've already done 2 other ones, making sure that I did it the right way. And I'll take this last one and I will do the same thing. I'm going to take this point and I'm going to bring it over to the angle over here. And I am going to give it a pin. All right. So now that I have these funny looking things here, I'm going to lay them on top of our coordinating fabric. All right, so this one is going to go here like that. And we're just going to put them on top. Okay. So after I get this on, there are a couple of things that you could do. And I'm going to do it the safe way because usually if I don't do it the safe way and I try and do it the faster way, I usually end up with something that's not exactly what I want. All right, so here I have them together. Now you can see this one's already slipped on me, and that's what I worry about. So what I've decided that I'm going to do is I'm going to take it to the machine and I'm going to baste them. I'm just going to use a really long stitch and I'm just going to baste it in place so that when I go to put these pieces together, they're not slipping on me and I don't have something that flies out like that. So the best thing for me to do is to go over and get them basted. So I've got my machine set at 4.0. Machines are all different, but this has got a nice long stitch, and I'm just going to start here, and I'm just going to go here and around the corner. All right, so and I still have to make sure, see, look at that thing, just trying to get me in trouble, that's for sure. And you don't want to do 1/4 of an inch like you usually do when you're doing your seams. You want to do it like 1/8 of an inch or as close to the edge as you can, but you do want to make sure that you're catching the fabric. So I will get this down and we are just going to okay, and I'm going to flip it and I'm just going to sew right off the edge here. Now I know this little bugger's not going to move on me. It's going to stay right where it is. Okay, so get these little threads trimmed off. And so I can take the pin out and it's not going to go anywhere. All right, so I will do the same with all of these. And then we will go to put them together. All right. Here you go. I snuck ahead of time and I did some ahead of time. So these are all done and ready to go. And I'm just going to lay them out like so. Oh, I lost one. All right, and as you can see, I've put these in order the way they will be sewed together. And with this pinwheel, we've got the pink on the top of the cute little print. Over on this side, I did the same thing. I folded these guys the same way I folded these, and I put them on the pink. So it's going to be like the opposite block when we do it. We'll get two blocks. One will look like this and one will look like this. So now I'm going to take these and I'm going to sew these together. I'm going to sew this together. It's going to end up as a 4-patch. But one thing that you're going to have to remember when we do this is that, or when you do this, is that when you go to press it, after you sew it and you go to press it, it's going to be best if you press the seam open. And I know sometimes that gets hard, especially when you have like a bulk like you are going to have with this here. But if you don't, then it's going to be a really big bulk when you go to sew the top to the bottom. So you're just going to have to go with that and like try to open up that seam and get it sewed. All right, so now I have to go back down to what I need to be, and I'm going to move my needle over because it was in the wrong spot for what I need to do now. All right, so now I'm ready to go, and I am going to get these sewed at 1/4 of an inch. And by the way, you know, if you decide you want to try this, it doesn't have to be a 3.5 inch square or a 3.5 inch strip. If you're afraid to make them this small, you can make them bigger. You know, you could do cut it at a 6 inch or a 6.5 inch, and then everything would be bigger. It might be easier, especially if it's the first time you did it. You know, but you just have to remember that they all have to be the same size. So, you know, and if you decide you want to do a really teeny tiny one, send me the picture. I'd love to see it. Because I love those little ones. All right, so I'm going to get this little guy in here. If I can feel that bulk just sewing over top of it now. So if I doubled that, it will be really hard to do. Okay, so now I will just get these trimmed off. And I'm going to cut that because it'll be easier. I'm going to take it over to the ironing board, and you can see this is still sticking out. And I'm going to try very, very hard to get this opened up. It's not an easy job because you have all those layers. All right, you can see that I took it over and I did press it open. This one was easier to do than the other one, and I'm not exactly sure why, but I was able to get this opened. But it does lay a lot flatter, and you can see all of this that it would have been if I tried to move it to one side. It would have made it very, very bulky. So it is definitely best to press it open. So now I'm going to pin these together, and I am going to try and match up where they come together. And I still have a big bulk, and it would have been a lot worse if I had done it the other way. So I'm going to get these pinned in place, and then I am going to sew them. And I really do believe that this is the hardest part of the whole thing, because it is so bulky there and where they all come together. But the block is so darn cute, can be used for a bunch of different things, which I will talk to you about in a minute here. So, all right, I'm going to take this over and I am going to get this sewed together. Now, when you get to that middle section where you've got all that bulk, you know, your machine might be a little slower. You might have to tug it from the other side to, you know, help it go through that. All right, and I can see that I am going to do that. There we go. Not a big tug, because you don't want to, you know, like mess things up or, you know, make it go wonky, but okay. All right, so I'm going to take it over and I'm going to press it. You can see how this is looking, but there again, it's got all of that bulk in there. So I'm going to try and get some of that bulk out of there so it will lay a little bit flatter, especially if whatever I decide to do with this, that it goes to a long arm quilter hitting something like that. They might not like it. So I'm going to try and see if I can get that down a little bit. Okay, so here we are, and we have them sewn together. And as you can see, I've pressed the backs open on both of them, and it does lay down a little bit. It's still a little bulky in the middle, but you've got all of those layers coming together, so it's going to be. So this is a great little block, and there's a couple different things that you can do with them. And I think that we're going to kind of wait on that, and in our next little session, I am going to do maybe a couple different things, or at least one thing that you could do with this, you know, maybe to make a small baby blanket or little lap quilt or whatever. But we'll be back, and I hope you will be too. So if you want the pattern for this, you can check with the library. It will be online, or you can stop here at the store, Little Fabric Garden, and I've got them for you. So see you next time.